One thing that I've always found fascinating is how we develop our beliefs, and they can really guide or shield us from the truth.
Mm,
An example being, a lot of us are taught when we're young that 90% of the heat, or pick your number, goes out the top of our head,
yeah.
which, if that was true, not suggesting people do this, but you could take all your clothes off and go for a run in the snow,
Right.
and
Don't
you'd
do
be
it.
fine.
Right. Yeah.
But and the reality is the context is that because of the clothing you're wearing, most of the heat goes out of your head because your head's uncovered.
Right.
And without that context, all of a sudden this belief becomes true, but it's not true. And so we have a lot of that with the philosophies that we adopt for our life, and we read an inspirational book or something like
Right.
that, or we watched a leader and they spoke and they gave us a philosophy, and lead with empathy.
Right. Right.
And we might adopt that, and then we adopt that as true, and then our natural filters from our reticular activating system kicks in, and we shield ourselves from other truths that hold us back from being an authentic leader.
It's so true. You're talking about the covering your head. Like how many people don't think about or break down
Yeah.
that to actually analyze, like, is that actually right or true or not? But the other key thing, what is the different beliefs and philosophies that make us who we are, and we hear something, being able to decide, oh, I want to explore that,
Absolutely, yeah.
and I want to see if I can take that on. But what is really important is that you have to be open
Yes.
to receiving the information, whether you want to lead with empathy, or maybe your belief is leading with language.
Yes.
Whatever your philosophy is, you still need to be open to hearing other things, and maybe also, in deciding which philosophies do you truly want to embody based on
Absolutely.
your values and what matters most to you.
Absolutely. The philosophies do need to align with your values. And it is critical how much they impact on you. And that's why in the book we've got a whole section on exploring those philosophies, because it is so critical. But it's really critical from that perspective. I love that you say explore that, because it becomes almost fun.
Yeah.
And it should be fun.
Right. It should be fun. This should not, it's not that it shouldn't be work, because it is work,
Yeah.
but you need to enjoy exploring.
Well, work can be fun.
Yeah, right? Well, right. Well, you should be able to take pleasure and being able to, have it put a smile on your face to find out what are the things that matter and what philosophies do you really want to follow. And your friend or another leader may have a different philosophy that they follow, and that's okay. It's aligned with them.
And yeah, exactly. And then that's where it was aligned with that. And that's where you get those philosophies. It was aligned with that person. It meant something to that person, but does it mean something to you? You're a very different and unique person. And that's part of what being an authentic leader is about. It's about understanding what your values are, and then the beliefs build on from your values, where these philosophies come into place. But it then becomes that challenge of how we're growing. And we talk about that a lot, about how leadership is a process. There's a start, a middle, and no end.
Right.
It's something you're constantly evolving. And I love that, again, the word of explore.
Right.
Let's explore this. How does this work? Where is it helping me? Where is it holding me back? And that exploration will help you as an authentic leader to grow.
Yep. Right.
And become a more effective leader in achieving the goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah. It's not, and I want to think, achieving the goals that you want to achieve, you have to also think about that it's not just one philosophy, right?
Yes.
So, we talk about having, whether it's empowerment or your, personal mantra. What is the philosophy or philosophies that you want to adapt to wrap into that personal mantra that you actually have for yourself? Because you can take bits and pieces from other people's philosophies and craft your own.
Absolutely. And crafting your own is fantastic. And I mean, I have a number of my own little quotes, so to
Yeah.
speak. One of mine is, the secret to happiness is be happy.
Right.
It's a choice.
Right.
It's an obvious. And I said that, and I researched it, and it didn't exist. And it was like, okay, it created that my own little mantra, and that's part of that growth as well. Because also too, when we think about it, we might have picked up a belief that works, or a quote is something that's inspired us at that point in time. And we've talked about a lot as well about how the organism must adapt to the environment. Well, your environment is constantly changing. So these philosophies that we're talking about might have been relevant at that point in time, but 2 years later or 5 years later, might not be relevant anymore.
Right. And they've changed. It's like, and I'm thinking about, I always think about, for me, like, your vibe attracts your tribe, and be the CEO of you.
Yes.
Like, those are like two things that I kind of have adopted, but the things are always changing, as you said, and you have to be able to think about, this is where, again, we've shared this, where we need to be able to look at the philosophies that we have right now, and maybe we need to adjust.
Absolutely.
For the time, or for something that's happening, and it's okay to do that, because as you evolve and as time changes and things are always changing, we're going to modify.
Absolutely. And that's one of the core tenets of being an authentic leader, is being able to deal with flux.
Yeah, nimble.
The world, great. I love that word. That's a fantastic word. And it is about being nimble, because the world is changing, and it's changing fast and accelerating in its change, and being able to deal with differences and not just take something and say, well, this is how it is, but going, like, I love that word, explore it. Keep coming back to that. Right. Explore, something happens, explore it. It's not just immediately jump to a judgment.
Right.
And that's where it's really important, I think, and as you mentioned before, you have this philosophy or a quote that inspires you, but start to question it. Be inquisitive. Be that, that 5-year-old going, what's going on here?
Yeah. Right. Be inquisitive. And, the interesting thing is, as we're talking about this, like right now, what's the biggest buzz right now? Everything's AI.
Yes.
And there are some people that
we're going to date our video. Someone will watch it in 5 years and they'll go, what is AI?
Right.
It evolves that quickly.
Yeah. If you need to, but I think back, okay, so, you think back to the people that right now are like, oh, I don't want to get involved with AI or whatever, like they're naysayers about it. But I think back, how did they call it AI in War Games with Matthew Broderick? Right?
Now we're dating ourselves.
Do you want to play a game? Right? I mean, that's what I think about, right?
Yeah. But that is exactly what it is. And that analogy, because it's a similar sort of thing, as a kid growing up, you had the computer games where you got to the door and it's like, open door and the door is locked.
Right.
Find key, which is a very, very rudimentary AI. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so it evolves, right? So we went from that massive computer, with Matthew Broderick playing a war game, to what we have now. But the key is being able to know, do you have the philosophy of being one to explore change, or is one of your philosophies to take what is? Like, are you open to that, or are you closed? And it's part of a philosophy, but it's also a choice.
It is absolutely a choice, and that's a very key point to recognize, is that when you adopted the first quote many years ago that's inspired you, that was a choice. And then it's really important to maintain that flexibility, to be able to deal with that flux, to go, well, actually, is this serving me, or will something else better serve me? And being aware of that, being open to that. Yeah. And that's really important as an authentic leader, is to be able to take information in, which means it's as hard as it is to accept that we don't know everything. So,
and we have to accept that we don't know everything, and we need to actually surround ourselves with other people who have the skills that we don't have, or even have some of the same skills but maybe better than we are, and that's okay. And that's really important, to be okay with surrounding yourself with people that might be smarter or have more knowledge than you do in a particular area.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things when we look at how we're growing, is to pay attention to what's going on and to listen. And that's the journey we're talking about, being an authentic leader, is the journey is not external, it's internal. This is where success as a leader comes, is by internally growing and continually changing and evolving, and being part of that process.
Change is inevitable.